This video is going to be yet another look at some rookies across the NFL that are having an impact, trying to compare their impact, the situations that they're in, and ask you, the viewer and listener, who do you think is the best rookie tight end in the NFL? There's five guys in the picture, but I have one additional player to include in terms of video that I'm going to show you today. First guy we're going to take a look at, I can absolutely understand if a lot of people would vote for Cade Otton out of the Tampa Bay Bucks. He's playing with Tom Brady, not getting a lot of opportunities early in games. When I go through the NFL.com website and I look at targets, which is generally what I'm looking for in this video, to be honest with you, there's not going to be a ton of run blocking in this video. There will be two run plays by a couple of guys, but Cade Otton will not be one of them. He doesn't get a ton of targets early in games. It seems like he gets targets late for some reason. I'm not sure. Capable downfield against coverage. Contact doesn't seem to bother him. Great hands. A whole hell of a lot faster than people suspect him to be as a tight end. Really smooth in route running. Here he is as an inline tight end, this tray formation, tray to the right, running an over concept. Again, contact doesn't seem to bother him. Gets bumped by a safety, runs right past the inside linebacker. Smooth, easy catch from Brady, left-hand side of the field. I'm a Ravens fan, but this guy looks like somebody that every team in the NFL could use. Obviously, we have Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. But Cade Otton, to me, looks like the type of matchup that's going to give DBs problems across the NFL because of his size and his willingness to be physical when he's near the top of the route, like this one, curl back to the inside. Great set of hands, very well schooled. Looks like your quintessential 11 personnel hybrid tight end receiver that puts teams in conflict. It's going to be a little out route. I think he's going to catch in front of the Rams corner. Rams played very soft, but he's in traffic catching the football. That's the thing I notice about him, that nothing seems to bother him in terms of being in traffic versus being wide open. He still catches the ball smoothly and cleanly and only catches it once. Some guys catch the football twice, and Cade Otton seems to be a guy that catches it smooth and quick the first time. All right, this little sail out route, the running back is going to pull the corner up, and they throw over the top of him. You can see Otton clear the corner. Rams had a lot of trouble, and have had a lot of trouble this year, covering those types of routes, at least from the game film that I've seen. Another intermediate route by Otton, over the top of the linebacker level. Brady throws it low to try to protect him and not lead him into anyone. Maybe it's a little bit too low, but again, a great catch, sliding and trying to control the football. Had an impact against multiple teams. A little delay route, something that you would perceive to be more in line with certain tight ends on certain teams, like the Ravens, for example. They do this a lot with some of their guys. Cade Otton has unlimited potential, if you ask me. Is he a 60 catch a year guy, 70? I don't know. It depends on the offense that you're in. All I know is the guy can play. He's one of the better prospects, if you ask me, that I've seen. And granted, I've only been doing film study for 2 years, but everything comes easy to him. And the people that are guarding him seem to be more impacted by the physicality than he is. If I'm a Bucs fan, I'm super happy to have this guy on the roster. I would say that my vote will be either for Cade Otton or one of the other guys that I'm going to show you in this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you think Cade Otton is the best rookie tight end in the NFL. Of course, this video only includes film from prior to Week 13. I didn't include any Week 13 video in it, so I may be missing any production he had from this past Sunday. Another rookie tight end that I think deserves mention that's a little bit different player from Cade Otton is Daniel Bellinger from the New York Giants. Of course, he's dealt with an injury, had to come out of the game, I think, in Week 8. I might have my weeks wrong there. Very versatile player. Physical, good in the run game in terms of blocking. Underrated pass defender. I think particularly good on third downs and underneath routes. As a Ravens fan, we played against him in Week 6, and I thought he had an impact, and you'll see his touchdown catch there. First play we're going to queue up, though, is not a pass reception, nor is it a run block by Daniel Bellinger. It's a running play. They run Philly against the Packers. And this is Bellinger with the football, getting ready to throw it to Jones, realizes that he can't get him the ball, or thinks he can't get him the ball. So instead tucks it and runs into the end zone. This is what makes it such a cool play, that you have, an option to throw the football to the quarterback here. Clearly there's another option that's breaking wide open here. The Packers are not unable to cover it, but Bellinger doesn't see it. He's not experienced with, looking at reads during the play. Keeps the football, scores. Pretty impressive and unique play. Guy's very athletic. Everyone in the NFL is athletic, but for a tight end, I would say he is a hybrid tight end receiver in terms of athleticism. Is he as athletic as the top receivers taken in the draft? Well, no. That's why most of these tight ends were taken, third, fourth, fifth round. All right, against the Ravens, under center, late in the game, play action. He's going to run this over concept, and they're basically using the front side fade route to isolate this safety right here, pull him out of the picture, and then Daniel Bellinger is just going to run on top of all that space. Cool concept, classic concept. It's been around forever, right? Bellinger's got the hands and the athleticism to raise up and catch the football right in front of Marlon Humphrey, who maybe should have been in better position there as well. Great hands, just like Otton. If you're a Giants fan and you want to say that you're happy with getting Bellinger and you think he's the best rookie tight end, I can't argue with you. I mean, he's having a hell of a year other than the injuries. Or the injury, I think, which was to his eye. There you'll see the elevation, catching the ball in traffic. All of these guys, these rookie tight ends, are strong, catch the ball well in traffic, don't seem to be bothered. Earlier in the season than when they played the Ravens is against the Panthers. Hide concept off of a fake run action, dives into the end zone. I think that was scored a touchdown. I love this concept because it's the second guy through. First guy through is going to be motion, and then Bellinger is going to be the second guy through that same space. Teams use this with tight ends all the time. That space ends up being wide open because it's been cleared out by the motion man who ran a wheel. Strong, physical guy. Giants did the right thing by picking him. Fits right in with their culture, running the football, blocking, being versatile. And the thing I'll say is he's very decisive. Everything looks clear to him when I watch him. There's never really moments of hesitation for Bellinger. When they ask him to run block, he seems to know who to block. He seems to know where to go. And his routes are very crisp. Little whip route, China out, but it's not really run against a defender. He's just faking the run action away. So he's coming downhill here to give run read looks to any of these guys that are reading him. Simultaneously, you've got a safety bailing out. But if you're unfamiliar, people generally read uncovered linemen or end man on the line of scrimmage. In this case, he's a slot, so he's not on the line of scrimmage. But it's not really a whip route. He's just going down the line to make it look like it's a run block, and then puts his foot in the ground, comes back towards the sideline where Jones was booting. He's really reliable on these short concepts. I would say that, the Giants look at him as a guy who they can go to kind of whenever they want, but it's complementary things. Complementary meaning you got the play action, and then again, look at Bellinger going inside and then coming back out, just out leveraging the defense. So he's quick enough to be able to do so once it's schemed up, meaning once his route or his path is determined, and he goes inside, then he's able to pull it back to the sideline, and he's quick enough to be able to maintain that leverage, even against an NFL corner like you saw there, even though the guy made a tackle. A little delay concept. Jones finds him. Much more athletic than he's probably given credit for. Super great pick, I think, for the Giants. I think they just killed the draft. There's a quad set up here, and he's going to shoot out into the flats. I think this was a 3rd and 5 against the Ravens, but I could be wrong. They went to him. It's a 2nd down, my bad. They went to him multiple times on 3rd down in this game. They just killed the draft. I mean, Thibodeau, Neal, Bellinger, so many guys that are contributing to, changing that culture. If you're a Giants fan, let me know how high you are on Bellinger. To me, as a Ravens fan, obviously we have Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, but he's right there with Likely and some of the other rookie tight ends. Very savvy, sits down here in this zone against the Jags. As the linebackers are, trying to sort out the mesh concept. Mesh typically, if you run, your 2 drags, typically the guy who's going to sit is going to sit in the middle of the field, so between the two hashes. But watch him sort this out, or watch him read this on the run and recognize that the middle of the field is going to be clogged up, so he sits on the hash. Just very aware. Him and Jones seem to have a good connection, a good relationship. In doing these videos for the rookies, it's really revealing to me, or interesting, because I get to learn. I get to learn players and schemes. And to me, Bellinger looks like a guy who could play in any scheme. I feel like you could drop him in the Chiefs offense and he would do fine. You could drop him in the Bills offense as a substitute for Knox and he would be fine. You could put him in the Ravens offense that's, oftentimes more predicated on the run and blocking, and I think he would be fine. So third down against the Ravens, again, reliable target, running underneath, outrunning Odafe Owe to the sideline. Of course, that's a mismatch with Owe dropping out of there. Unique player. I think he's one of the guys that's helping change their culture and point them more toward winning football. Just keeping things moving forward in terms of the offense. Not chunk plays out of Daniel Bellinger, a lot of short intermediate stuff. But when they have needed him to, I showed you the first two plays. When they have needed him to, was able to make plays down in the red zone. One of my favorite players to watch. I'm trying to educate myself, to be honest with you, on rookie players and the types of seasons they're having. Unfortunately, this video only displays film from week 13, before week 13, excuse me. I recorded it prior to the week 13 games being played. Let me know what you guys think of Daniel Bellinger's play, what you think of my breakdown of his performance so far this year. If you think I missed any elements, let me know in the comment section. The next rookie tight end that we're going to look at is Greg Dulcich of the Denver Broncos. They just got done playing the Ravens. Of course, I'm a Ravens fan. I'm going to tell you what, Dulcich is impressive. He's different from a lot of the other rookie tight ends. Him and Cade Otton, maybe Isaiah Likely as well. I would put in kind of like a different category in terms of the way that they run their routes, the way they can threaten downfield. I would say they're set apart from some of the other rookie tight ends in that manner. He runs a route that is very rarely utilized by a lot of tight ends. Typically, it's a wheel concept, and he runs it like a receiver. You can tell that he's played in passing offenses for a long time, because when he's running this route, he knows where to find the space. He knows where to read the defense in terms of the leverage. I mean, this is all designed for this receiver to take this corner out of the play. So it's set up for him. It's not like he's beating anyone man-to-man. But this is consistently used. I've got this play, or this route by him, 6 times on film. And when he hits it, he hits it full speed. It's a different type of tight end running downfield. I'm not sure who the comparison is for him. You guys let me know in the comment section who you would compare him to. Again, he's not beating anyone man-to-man on this. To me, this looks like cover 3. You got 4 underneath and then 3 deep shell back here. The corner has went with number 1, and Dulcich just runs right up, the sideline for a touchdown, easy touchdown. Great hands, performed extremely well against the Ravens on Sunday. I didn't include any film from Week 13 games. All film for this was only illustrated weeks 1 through 12. I think Greg Dulcich, I would have no problem if someone said he's the best rookie tight end in the NFL right now. This is really only going off of, receiving, to be honest with you. So it's a little bit skewed, or maybe a little unfair for some of the guys that are more balanced, like Daniel Bellinger. He reminds me a little bit of Otton from the standpoint that he catches the ball so smooth. Looks like a little bit more athletic version than Hayden Hurst in terms of when he was with the Ravens, and he was super fast. Dulcich seems like a downfield threat that should force teams to play 11 personnel, almost like 10 personnel. I love his ability to adjust and adapt. Like I said, you can tell he's played in passing offenses. He's ran routes out in space a lot. His ability to adjust here quickly and understand the coverage, work back to Russell Wilson. That's a veteran-type move. He's good underneath. It's not like he's only got big playability. If you're a Broncos fan, I understand that it hasn't been a great season in terms of record, but they've been in a lot of games. Like I said, I just finished watching the Broncos on Sunday against the Ravens, a game that the Broncos should have won. And they've had so many one-score games. To me, though, no matter what your record is, it's a real source of positivity having Greg Dulcich on your team. guy who should be there for a long time and should be able to produce no matter what system he plays in. I feel like they could move him around more. He's in the slot a lot. I feel like his athletic ability shows that you could use him as an outside receiver. Tough to tackle, big guy. Looks to me like he belongs in the conversation with Cade Otton, Isaiah Likely, and some of the other, really well-schooled, high-level pass receiving tight ends. I like him on this flat concept. I think he's good after the catch. He doesn't get a ton of yards here, don't get me wrong. Big target out in the flats against strong safeties or nickels. It's always a great idea. Greg Dulcich, to me, looks like he has all the pieces that that would be needed to be a Pro Bowler or whatever you want to call it at this point. Smart, tough underneath on third down. Real problem if you've got linebackers that have to deal with him. Very few drops. I will show you one here to end this portion of the video. Let me know what you guys think of Greg Dulcich and his play so far this year. I understand he did miss some time earlier in the year, but a tremendous amount of talent. I know the rookie tight ends were not drafted super high for obvious reasons. There's other players that are more valued from a positional standpoint. But to me, Greg Dulcich is one of those guys that could have been drafted earlier just because of the long downfield ability that he has, and he already brings to the table the foundational balanced elements that you typically want tight ends to have anyway. Appreciate you guys checking the video out. If you think I missed any elements of Greg Dulcich's game, obviously I'm not including a ton of run block. The next guy we're going to talk about, Isaiah Likely, you would think would be my favorite choice, and he certainly is one of them. I thought it was a great draft pick by the Ravens. A big body, a guy who showed receiving skills in college, and essentially he's a big slot in a lot of ways, although his blocking has improved throughout the year. But it would not be fair for me to talk about his blocking at length because I didn't do so with the other tight ends. Even though I watch more Ravens film and do a whole lot more Ravens coverage, I'd like to try to stay balanced in this video. Look, Isaiah Likely doesn't offer the downfield seam routes that Cade Otton or Greg Dulcich do, and even to a lesser extent Jelani Woods, who hasn't gotten as many targets. But what he does offer is a big target and someone who gets yards after the catch. He can beat man coverage, as you see here on the snag flat concept against the Bucs. Had a huge game against them. And the thing I would like to mention about Isaiah Likely that I think is important is his ability to step up when called to. When Mark Andrews was out, like he went out in injury in this game, or didn't play, like against the Saints, Isaiah Likely came up big. And he showed why the Ravens drafted him in the 4th round. Been a huge pick, if you ask me, for them. This is a 24-yard gain on a fake quarterback sneak. And it's the physicality of Isaiah Likely, no matter who he's facing, that I think is interesting. Watch him shed this linebacker with one hand and just move him out of the way. Now the linebacker's moving laterally, so, leverage-wise and momentum, he's being assisted in that manner, but that's a strong guy. I feel like basketball's got to be something that's in his background, moving while using his hands. Here he is, by the way, at the left-hand side of the screen. It's tough for me to be fair because I've seen more Likely film. Athleticism-wise, I would say Otton or probably Greg Dulcich would be a better choice because of the downfield threat. But you can see from some of these plays that Isaiah Likely offers that as well. But I don't think the burst is there as much on the downfield routes. Like Dulcich running that wheel, he runs that wheel like a receiver. This is Likely running a wheel, and it's a 34-yard gain, don't get me wrong. But I just don't feel like it's as much of a threat to actually, take this thing to the house. Even though, the ball's got to fit inside that pocket there by Lamar because he's got other defenders on the sideline to deal with. The Ravens are really blessed at tight end to have Mark Andrews under contract for a while and Isaiah Likely on a rookie contract. It's a unique situation. I'm not sure how they're going to mitigate it in terms of targets, but Isaiah Likely's got to get on the field. There's other guys in this video, other tight ends who have not received all of the opportunities that they should have talent-wise, and I think Isaiah Likely falls in that category as well. You guys let me know what you think if you're a Ravens fan who's watched all of these
tight ends at different times, because I know there's people who watch like every game on every Sunday. I'm not one of those people. Or if you're a fan of another team who's still listening to me talk about Isaiah Likely, do you agree? I feel like a lot of these rookie tight ends have not received the opportunities, and I kind of alluded to it earlier with Cade Otton. I feel like he gets targeted late in games, but if you look at the targets for like the first 2.5 quarters, often he's like not targeted at all for the Bucs. And then all of a sudden he'll be targeted like 5 times in the second half and have 4 catches for 50 yards or something. I feel like that's a consistent theme with some of these rookie tight ends. Not the first half not being targeted thing, but not being utilized as much as they could be. The talent is there. With Likely, the ball skills are there. He did have a couple of drops earlier in the season. After the Miami game, I think he had a drop or two in the Jets game, first game of the season, to be honest with you. This is very similar to that play I showed you against the Saints, making it look like speed option out here to the right, where Lamar could pitch it to the running back, and Likely's just releasing past people. So this isn't him beating people man-to-man, obviously. This isn't him finding a spot in the zone. This is kind of like, it's not really a trick play, but it's a pseudo-trick play. But you have examples of him beating people in man-free, and I'm going to show you a couple of them here. 2nd and 7 against the Giants, week 6. This is an absolute mismatch. Him against some of these inside linebackers, and occasionally there's been outside linebackers asked to guard him. As a Ravens fan and a Ravens content creator who watches a lot of film, if you're new to watching Ravens film, or maybe listening to me because you watch this video because of some other players, they're missing opportunities in 12 personnel, meaning the Ravens. They are missing opportunities for big plays. And Isaiah Likely is the guy that I'm referring to be out there along with Mark Andrews. Coming from Coastal Carolina, there was a lot of talk that he didn't block well. And I'll be honest with you, I was one of those people who said that when the Ravens drafted him. I was one of those people who said he doesn't appear to block well. But he has blocked better as the season has progressed, and he's made big plays. And they've started to utilize him in multiple concepts. Early in the season, like here, he had a little bit of trouble with physicality. You'll see it. Bumped off his routes occasionally. You'll see him get bumped here by offensive linemen for his own team. Still able to make use of the space provided underneath of the DN, get an 8-yard gain. The Ravens should be more creative, if you ask me, in using him. He's capable of more than just running your over route, and this is an example of it. He's finding space on the scramble drill. If you don't understand it, if you're not aware of it, the top of the numbers is a landmark for spread teams, for teams that throw the ball a lot in the scramble drill. It's a landmark, an area that you want to get someone to. And he sees Lamar scrambling in this direction. He understands where that landmark is. Someone's got to get there. If you're running a short route and the quarterback scrambles to your side, you either want to go long or you want to come back to the ball. If running a long route, you sometimes want to come back to the ball, make yourself available. In this case, Likely's on an intermediate route, has the awareness to bring this back to the top of the numbers, and Lamar finds him. That's why I say he's got more versatility than just being a tight end. He's got wide receiver skills and wide receiver awareness in a tight end's body. I feel like he's a big asset. Is he the best rookie tight end in the league? I can't say that right now. I think the Ravens are happy. Ravens fans would not trade him for anyone. But I kind of already talked earlier that I think Otton and Dulcich they offer a little bit more downfield threat in the seams, and Likely just hasn't been utilized in that way yet. Having said that, it's possible that that's in his game. The Ravens playbook, the Ravens play calls just might not have used it yet. Let me know what you think of Isaiah Likely in the comment section. The next rookie tight end we're going to talk about was one of my favorite guys to look at in the pre-draft process this past year, and is Jake Ferguson out of Wisconsin. Rookie tight end for the Cowboys. I'm going to show you some clips of him. Now, is he as much of a vertical threat as Otton and Dulcich? No. Is he as good after the catch as Isaiah Likely at times? One thing he is very smart with his routes, makes catches, big catch radius. He has tremendous belief in himself, and you'll see by the way he finishes plays. And when I say finish, I mean finish. I don't know whether this is a Wisconsin thing or whether this is something that came about about once he came to the Cowboys, but Jake Ferguson likes contact. He gets after people. He's athletic enough to change directions, put his foot in the ground. This is a safety. Come back to the middle of the field, finish the play for a touchdown. Doesn't have as gaudy a stats as some of the other guys, don't get me wrong, but he's playing with a lot of stars there. One thing that I'll continue to reiterate is how he finishes. How he refuses to be denied after the catch sometimes. This is an amazing play. I don't know if you've seen it before. Not just the catch. The catch is up high. Then leaping over a defender. He's wide open, don't get me wrong. I don't know what's happening here. I think this guy is playing for a screen backside. Ball's up a little high, maybe rightfully so. Then he hurdles one defender and then immediately tries to punish the next defender. That, to me, is even more rare than what he does right here, is the fact that after doing that, he's got so much faith and belief in himself and desire that he's going to try to run someone over. There is something really unique about Jake Ferguson. I would not have anticipated this physical type of play from him based on his film in college. There was nothing wrong with his film in college at all. I saw him make a catch over top of Dax Hill against Michigan in the home game last year. Don't get me wrong. I felt like he built his resume over the course of 4 years at Wisconsin. I thought he would have been a great draft pick for the Ravens. Again, I'm a Ravens content creator, so I looked at him as a guy that we could draft later on who would be there, and sure enough, he was available. I think he was a 5th-round pick. But I did not know that he could do some of the things that he's done on the field this year. I mean, these are leaping catches at the top of what would be considered his catch radius, and Jake Ferguson makes him look easy. For the Cowboys to have him as, I don't know where you would rank him in terms of their best position players. It'd have to be like 6th, right? Maybe 7th. He's a tremendous asset. Lining him up at fullback here. I'm not sure how often they do this, but this is too easy, obviously. But he doesn't get a whole lot of easy plays. It's not like everything he gets is just schemed up and there's no yards after the catch. He's capable of running away from linebackers, safeties in some examples, in some situations. Now, that safety did get chipped by a linebacker, don't get me wrong. But Jake Ferguson's a tremendous asset. To me, he's a starting tight end based upon the film that I have, which was like 48 plays that I saved. Catches the ball extremely well, even when it arrives earlier than he thinks it should. This is a quick game concept. In front of a linebacker, Dak Prescott throws it. Before he's even turned around, the ball's already out. And he's got to catch it. Maybe a little bit of a surprise for him how quick it was delivered. Fantastic catch. He's reliable. Again, absolute starting tight end in the NFL based on what I think I'm seeing. Is the blocking as impressive as this? I'm not sure. But there is no quit in him. Every single play seems to be 150% effort and 150% finish. I have not seen a single example of him not going full out like you see here. Mesh concept, and they clearly trust him. I mean, he's been targeted in some of these big moments. This is a 3rd and 2. They trust him. They should. I think this was a great draft for them, a great pick for them, I should say. If you're a Cowboys fan watching, number one, I appreciate it. Thank you. Number two, tell me what your impression is of Jake Ferguson, because the limited amount of film that I had, there's going to be a blitzing DB here, by the way, and he's so savvy. He didn't play in a spread system at Wisconsin. I mean, he played in Wisconsin, but he looks like he can play in any system, to me. The Cowboys system, I would say, is multiple. I know they like to run the ball, obviously. But when they do spread things out and he's forced to line up outside a little bit of what you might consider his comfort zone, he looks completely comfortable to me. And again, just finishes plays. There is no quit in him whatsoever, and it doesn't matter who he's going up against. I can imagine that in practice, there were situations where Jake Ferguson went at people like this from day one, and I don't know that, at all. Obviously, there's a block in the back on the Cowboys there. I don't know that at all. I just suspect that Jake Ferguson is one of those guys that in practice brings it, and even in training camp brings it, and maybe even forces guys to step up their game. This is one of multiple plays where you see him catch the ball, and it doesn't look like he's going to get the first down, or it doesn't look like he's going to get as many yards as he does. He's catching this on the 24, and he ends up at the 32. It's an 8-yard gain on a very simple concept. I'm a huge fan of Isaiah Likely because I'm a Ravens fan. I see him a lot. I really like Jelani Woods as a late-round draft pick leading into the draft process. I thought that he's a guy who would be there, 4th, 5th, 6th round, whatever. Cade Otton and Greg Dulcich, their resume and their reputation spoke for itself, and their play in the NFL has reflected it. Daniel Bellinger, physical guy, has fit into the Giants scheme. The one guy that has surprised me the most is Jake Ferguson. And I don't mean that in a way like I had low expectations for him. I thought he'd be a 10, 12-year NFL veteran guy by the end of his career. And I didn't think that in this quick, this soon, he would look like a starting NFL tight end. I understand that they have a starter there because they have a lot of talent in Dallas. But Jake Ferguson is a guy that I think could start on 20, 22 teams across the NFL at tight end. Let me know what you think of Jake Ferguson, what you think of my breakdown. Again, we're omitting blocking from this and generally just showing routes, catches, targets, and stuff like that. Let me know if you think I've missed any elements of his route tree, him catching the ball, his ability to get yards after the catch, and how physical he is right up until the whistle. All right, this will be the last guy that I go over in terms of the best rookie tight ends in the NFL this year. And this was honestly one of my favorite guys to look at in the pre-draft process. Jelani Woods from Virginia. The size, the catch radius, the height, and the athleticism. The ability to get vertical. I had some plays on film from him in college of him getting vertical against good defenses and making plays downfield. He hasn't been consistent in the NFL in terms of targets and catches, don't get me wrong. But there have been some pretty big moments. He had 2 catches for touchdowns, I believe, against the Chiefs in Week 3 when the Colts somehow beat the Chiefs early in the season. And then all of these plays against the Steelers in Week 12. I'm only going to show Week 12 film just to illustrate how dangerous he is and the way that he impacts the game in this route tree that I'm going to show you, all over the field. All kinds of routes that are out there in this game, somewhat simplified, but at least out-breaking routes, in-breaking routes, and then deep post routes or seams. Late in the second quarter against the Steelers, they're trying to get down and get a field goal. This is a drop. I think this was his second target of the game. And this really kicked things off for him. From here on out, he was pretty much dominant. Very little missteps. Now, there was a fumble on the sideline, but it's because he got touched by a demigod in T.J. Watt. I think this one gets him a field goal attempt. Very next play. And the reason why I'm showing you these two that seem like, first of all, a drop, second of all, a very short reception, is they came right back to him. They trust him. Yes, it's very clearly soft coverage by the Steelers. No doubt. But the Colts came right back to him. They trusted him, to make the catch, try to get him in field goal range, which I think they did, and I believe they missed the field goal there. All right, so let's move on to some more plays, maybe down the field or a little bit more consequential. Lined up in the slot on the right to the field side. And look how difficult he is to tackle because of the size. It's almost unfair at times. How big and physical he is, and how much of a problem it is for safeties on first contact to tackle him without him getting at least 2 or 3 yards, after the catch, or after post-contact, I should say. All right, twin slot formation. He's in the slot to the left, down at the bottom side of the screen. And this is an amazing catch. I mean, is there a little bit of a push-off? Maybe. It's against a linebacker, all right? Miles Jack. So maybe right here is a little bit of a push-off. Veteran move for a young guy. Unbelievable catch with the hands. Good throw, obviously. Man-to-man. He's a matchup problem for linebackers. For safeties and some smaller corners or nickel, DBs who might get put on him, he's a matchup problem because of his size. For linebackers, it's the athleticism and the size. They line him up at the X sometimes, run him underneath, makes tough catches. TJ Watt trying to knock the ball out at all times because he's just that brilliant in pretty much everything he does. And in this case, Jelani Woods is able to protect the football. Had some awareness of what was possible there in terms of somebody trying to knock it out. All right, up top now, singled up against Minkah Fitzpatrick. Again, the backside of trips. You see trips over here. And this goes down as a pass interference, but I show this. He didn't catch it. I show this because, who's guarding him, the catch radius that he has. I think this gives you a great angle view of the catch radius that he's got. It's good coverage by Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, is there interference? Yeah, go right ahead. Call it interference. No problem. But it's a challenge play. I like it. And it also, like I said, just shows the catch radius that is there with Jelani Woods. The options you have in terms of where to throw the football. Doesn't complete the play, but gets a DPI. I think they scored 2 plays later. Scored a touchdown. Let me know what you think of Jelani Woods. I mean, you're seeing the film. Maybe you're watching this video for the first time. Maybe you're not a Colts fan. Huge target. I think he played I think he transferred to Virginia as a senior, I believe. Played 1 year there. Not sure why this plays in there twice. My apologies. All right, here's another great catch on an outbreaking route. I showed you the one against Miles Jack earlier, which was man. This one's against zone. And like I said, TJ Watt to the boundary is where you typically get him pass dropping. Catch in traffic, bullies a safety, and then Watt knocks it out. So it's a fumble. It goes down as a fumble, obviously. I just love the route, the ability to find the space. You're getting, what's obviously a clear out route here, and then Woods breaking this off to the sideline. Running through contact while not really even trying to. It's not like he was it doesn't even look like he was really aware that DB was going to be there to challenge, And he still bullied over top of him. And yeah, it goes down as a fumble. Because like I said, he got touched by a demigod. I mean, TJ Watt forces fumbles on everybody, right? Big play up the middle of the field. Lined up to the trips now. I had shown you, I think, 3 examples of him lined up as the X backside. In this case, he's lined up to the trips. Do I think Jelani Woods is the best tight end, best rookie tight end in the NFL? No, I do think there's some people who may vote that he is the guy with the most upside. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think he's got to be in the conversation. That's why I included him. There's only 5 guys in the picture for the thumbnail of this video, but I included 6 players in the breakdown because I thought they were just all so talented. For real. Let me know what you think of Jelani Woods. What you think? And again, I'm not including blocks in this. To be real, me personally, the guy who I feel like is the best blocker as a rookie tight end is Daniel Bellinger. Maybe that's the offense he plays in. Maybe it's, how much practice time is dedicated to it. Isaiah Likely is on the other end of the spectrum in terms of how much blocking he's asked to do. He's not asked to do as much in the Ravens offense. Jelani Woods, to me, is a guy who is a hybrid receiver / tight end, big slot. I've seen him block well at times this year. Not saying he cannot, but his catch radius, his ability to run in-breaking, out-breaking, and seam routes, to me, is a huge advantage. Similar to Cade Otton and Greg Dulcich in some ways. A little bit different from some of the other guys. I don't really think you can go wrong if you vote any of these guys as the best rookie tight end. I do these to kind of highlight how rookies are playing, show some of the film, hopefully gain some new followers or new subscribers, people who aren't Ravens fans and don't follow my channel normally. Let me know what you think of my breakdown overall if you watch the entire video. Jelani Woods was the last guy. If I was to vote, I would probably say it's Dulcich or Cade Otton for me personally, even though I really like Isaiah Likely, obviously. And Jake Ferguson and Jelani Woods were 2 of my favorite guys to look at in the pre-draft process in terms of tight ends that I thought the Ravens might get in round 3, 4, or 5. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the video in the comments section. And if you listen this long and you really enjoyed the video, please consider sharing a link on social media to help the video get more reach. Appreciate your time.